Hey everyone, been a very long time coming. But movie theaters are open in some places, just not in the state I live in. But if I take the tunnel, I can go someplace where movies are playing. And today happened to be my first time in the theater since back in March. And speaking a long time coming, let's just get right down to it and let's go to this movie basically 2 years waiting to get shown. Is it worth the hype? Is it as bad as people think it was? Let's talk about the last Fox movie, New Mutants. New Mutants is the last of the Fox X-Men movies and will basically close out that chapter of in association with Marvel Productions. This movie has been delayed, and as much as I don't like to talk about the production aspects of the movie and let that affect my opinion of the movie's okay. So New Mutants is a story about a bunch of kids who are locked inside a facility where they cannot get out, and they're trying to be rehabilitated. They are actually being tested on. They don't know why, but they're being tested on because they're young mutants and to be led to somewhere else. One day, a character by Danielle Moonstar, but everyone calls it Daniel, happens to get there and sets off a chain of events that start the movie. Let's get this out of the way. This movie's not as bad as everyone's making it out to be, and I think this is much like Dark Phoenix. It's just going to get trashed because it's not a Marvel movie. It's not part of the MCU. So let's take that bias out of the way right from the start. A few things this movie does get right is, I have to say, what it trying to be a small horror movie with mutant powers. And it does succeed to some extent. But thankfully there really are no jump scares. It's more about mood, aesthetic, and visuals, and a couple of the bad guys near the end. But that's kind of it, and it almost feels like if this was a movie not named New Mutants, if this would have been your regular run-of-the-mill horror movie, not associated with comics, I think a lot of people would have been a lot more gentle on this. I did like some of the acting in it, especially Charlie Heaton, mostly known for Stranger Things. I thought he was pretty well in it. I also like Anya Taylor-Joy, who was also in Split. She was also in Emma, which I saw earlier this year, and she's in a lot of movies like that. I thought she was well. I actually really liked the person who played Danielle and the person who played Wolfbane. And I actually liked their interaction, and I think if this would have been a movie that would have been promoted, the inner workings between Danielle and Wolfbane would have got a little bit more attention because of their interactions, and I thought they actually had a very sweet story to tell between them. The special effects are actually not that bad for a low-budget horror movie. The only person who I had problems with was Sunspot, and I just had a problem with his character in general. He was very he didn't really have much to do, and his special effects wasn't really good at all. Matter of fact, the special effects that they used for his character in Days of Futures Past was far better. The main villain was weird because it's this one lady who's controlling these 5-6 mutants, and she has this certain power, but at no time does she show, except for this one moment at the very end, that that she can control them. It seems like if they really wanted to, they could have overpowered her in half a second. And it's never explained what kept them there. Also, the strange thing about this movie is, despite the fact that Danielle's joining this cast of characters who have already been there, they have this strange conversation, or they have strange moments in the movie where it feels like either A, no one talked to each other while they were there, or B, there are moments where it felt like scenes were placed in the movie out of context. Like they were shifted around. In the case of especially of Ileana, who character changes from scene to scene, almost like certain scenes were supposed to happen earlier in the movie, but they happen after a certain moment. Like there's a moment where they straight up have a Breakfast Club moment, where there's literally a montage of them hanging out going crazy. But then right after, Ileana goes back to being a fucking bitch. And it was like, wait, was that scene supposed to come earlier before they did their group bonding session? And then just a lot of people talking to each other, explaining their past, but most of them have been there for like who knows how long. Did no one ever talk before this happened? I don't know. The main villain really wasn't that... I thought it was fine, but like the way the main villain gets taken out is completely weak and wasteful. There is a hint of how it connects into the X-Men universe, of course. And I actually, once I sat down and thought about it, I was like, maybe there is a reason this movie was supposed to come out between right after Dark Phoenix, I believe. And there's a way you can look at it to see how it connects the end of Apocalypse, Deadpool 2, and then this movie, and then maybe even going further to Logan. The movie felt disjointed, and it also felt like it was in a rush to get to the end. And you can definitely feel it, not in the pacing of the movie, but it's just like, oh, there's no time to explain it, da-da-da-da-da. There are these villains that show up at the end, where I kind of think I know where they are because I did read the New Mutant comics. But out of context, there was no explanation for them, why they were there. There's no explanation who they are. So it felt like scenes were missing, or it was just like, we need to cut this down to 90 minutes so we can get as many showings as possible. And, well, that's frankly why this movie wasn't pushed back. They just wanted to get it released out into the theaters. It's not a great way for the X-Men franchise to die, but it is a fitting way for them to die now that they're owned by, you know, Disney, who owns everything. I'm really going to have to give... I didn't hate this movie, though. I found it interesting. I just wanted to know more about these characters, but the movie was in such a rush to get to the end. And I actually did like the fact that the last villain was a little bit different for a superhero movie, for once. It's nice to get originality every once in a while. And yes, this was supposed to be the first in a trilogy that we will never get. But at least the movie ends with an ending and not a cliffhanger. I'm going to give New Mutants a 5. It's not terrible. I think a lot of people would have been much less harsh on this movie if it wasn't an X-Men movie. But I did like some of the effects. I did like the ideas behind the movie. It just wasn't executed all that great. So that's my thoughts for New Mutants for now. I will hopefully be doing some more reviews since I've been watching a lot of movies, but like everyone else, I've been doing it from home. So that's it for now. Did you watch New Mutants? Do you even care about New Mutants? Are you going to wait for its streaming? Let me know. Bye.